we started off hot. We had a lot of, I think everyone starts off really well just because everyone's healthy to start the year. No, there's not injuries, no illnesses to battle. But then we hit a little bit of I wouldn't say a rough patch, but we won a couple games where we lost our stride. We were kind of guessing at lineups and trying to figure out lines and chemistry and all that. But towards the last, I'd say, month or so, we really seemed to find our niche, our click, and I got paired with two of the best passers in the league, arguably, Birchback and Winquist, and we just seemed to gel really well, and we seemed to find each other all over the ice, and it led to team success. And I think as a whole, I think we ended up taking our division before this pandemic hit. Unfortunately, but like you said, there's a lot of things that we'd like to see in the future. How the conference and Kelly Cup finals would go, and like you said when we talked off the air, it would have been pretty cool to see a rematch of the Kelly Cup finals again.
I don't think we ever did take you hunting here on the Rock. I think we owe you a hunting trip, don't we?
Yeah, Raj owes me a hunting trip. That guy.
I've been dying to do moose hunting up here. I heard there's more moose than people here.
Maybe at the end of it all, when you win the Kelly Cup here, bring Newfoundland and Labrador their first pro hockey title. Maybe we can try to arrange something there for you.
He owes me one, that's for sure.
What do you remember about Raj? Give me favorite Raj moments. I would love. I'm sure would love to hear that.
Favorite Roger moment would probably be I met him after, because this was at the beginning of the year when not a lot of the boys had their cars yet.
Right.
So we were taking cabs to the rink and stuff, and finally we got a shuttle service from Raj. And during that time, I had just met him, and he picked me up from Elizabeth Towers in his minivan, and I remember thinking, this is super nice of him. I can't believe he did this for us. And oh my gosh, by the time we got to the rink, everyone's heart skipped a beat because he's driving all over the map. He's swearing at people on the way. So that was probably my favorite memory of Raj was the first time I met him. The guy's a loose cannon on the road, but he means well, and he's a great guy. And like I said, he owes moose hunting.
Game 4 in Toledo, that was the only road for either team in that series. The moment that a lot of people have gravitated to in that game was Darian Plouffe blocking those 3 huge shots. And I know you roll your eyes because you were the one who was in the penalty box on that penalty kill.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that and watching from the penalty box a little fellow like Darian Plouffe just eat 3 clappers from Matt Register? Like, what was your reaction in that kind of 2-3 minutes?
Oh, it was a lot of emotions were going through my head. One was just I felt horrible because, I'm the one in the penalty box, pain-free. He's the one eating these off the shin and the knee and the boot, and he's – oh my gosh! You want to talk about a team player? Just an absolute team guy. And I played against him this year when he played for Indy.
That's right.
And he was same thing. He would do anything for his team. So, and then at that same moment, I'm thinking this is what it takes to win. And sure enough, he blocked those 3 shots. And for all we know, one of those could have gone in from the point because Register seems to find the net when he's up there.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
And yep, and Toledo's power play in the playoffs was something like excellent. 28% or something. It was something crazy. So that. It was a turning point in that game for us and for Darian. So if he didn't block those shots, it could have been a tie game, and then we go to overtime, and it could have been a different story.
Well, what was it like then? You guys did come to Newfoundland, the Walleye, back in November. What was that like for you? I know you got your ring that week. I'm sure it was a lot going on. Still early in the season. Kind of sum it up. I'm sure you got some ribbing from your teammates. Kind of put it together, your trip to Newfoundland.
Yeah, it was a little weird. It was awkward in some areas. Certainly a special feeling to go back there and play at Mile One Center in front of a crowd that we won the Kelly Cup for. But at the same time, it's also a business, so I had to come with my game face on and ready to play. And I thought we played well, but we just fell short both games, unfortunately. But Newfoundland's a good team. John Snowden knows what he's doing, obviously, and we chatted for a bit about his team and mine, and kind of got the inside scoop on everybody. But yeah, it was a pretty special feeling, and like you said, I got my ring, so that was pretty neat to to get a hold of and see for the first time. I saw my teammates had it, a couple months before me, and they were bragging about it.
Were you trying to not peek at the pictures online when I'm sure the boys posted? Were you like, no, I want to see it for myself?
Yeah, the pictures online didn't do it justice. I kind of wanted to slap it on and see my name and everything, and it was oh my god, the ring's beautiful. I mean, you got it on, right? So
I do. I don't have any excuses not to wear it, so I had. It's basically Champions Night here on the stream, so we had to bust out all the hardware for you. Game one, that's an easy one for you. Obviously, it was not only did it kick off the first finals appearance for the Growlers, but you scored the game-winning goal that game. Kind of, what do you remember about game one? I remember the fans were on top of us, mile one and St. John's. Everyone was locked in. You couldn't find a ticket to save your life. And then in game one and game two go to overtime. But in game one, kind of, what do you remember specifically about that?
Jeez, game one that's one of those games that I'll be telling my kids about. I think game one, and I would like to hear other people's side and other people's opinion about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we didn't win game one, it's a different series. And the reason I say that is because we don't win game one, we go down 1-0. Let's just say for the sake of the argument, we win game two. We're 1-1 going in Toledo's barn, and they're a tough barn to play at.
Yep.
And it's tough to steal a game there. It's tough. So going and winning game one, I think it would have been a different series. Not saying we wouldn't have won, but it would have been different.
I agree 100%.
But game one was, like I said, it'll be one I'll tell my kids about. We went up, I think it was 3-0 going into the third, and
yeah.
we thought it was over. I thought we dominated for the most part. I actually watched,
sure.
I think you guys tweeted it or something about a rewatch of it.
Yeah, that was game 6, not game 1 though, but yeah, okay, I actually watched one this morning or not.
Yeah, and so we watched it, and I think we dominated or at least had possession of it most time, and then they got a quick power play goal, and so, we got deflated. They scored another one, a little bit more, so then, we started to be a little anxious, and they scored another, and, and then just shortly over 5 minutes, I scored in overtime, and it was more of a sigh of relief than anything else, but it was... What
do you remember about the goal? Because I don't know if I've ever seen anyone skate as fast as you did down that left wing.
It was actually a run play by Snowy. He actually, I don't know if it was a TV timeout or if we took an actual timeout, but we had a play to win the draw and for Elnick to go hard to the boards and for me to just get on my horse and go to try and get some speed past the D. And I mean, it worked to a T. They rang it around to Elnick, and he gave me a little backhand pass up the gut, and I just used my speed and tried to make a little under the stick move and get it on net, and it went over Nagel's shoulder. And I remember thinking I'll never have a better goal in my career than that.
I'm pretty sure you broke that pane of glass when you jumped into it too, because
I might have broke my body. It was. I kind of blacked out after that.
Get back home to mile one for game 6, a goal and an assist in that final game for yourself. What do you remember? Just sum up that game in general, because I knew when we got off the plane at St. John's Airport, and you remember all the fans were at the bottom of at the airport to greet the team. That was kind of that moment that I knew I don't think the Growlers are going to lose another game here. Just what was your take heading back home after game 5 for what ended up being just one more?
It was relief, but at the same time, we wanted to win it there. We wanted the series over with. Obviously, you want to win as few as possible, but then it was a sigh of relief when we got to come back to the Rock and play them where we obviously play so well.
Yeah.
But if we're being honest, I don't remember. Like I can tell you, play by plays of all the other games. And the one that means the most, and the one we won it. I can't tell you. I don't remember goals. I don't remember. I remember the main thing I remember is once again being up. I think 3-1 or 4-1, something like that. 4-1. Yeah, 4-1, and them coming back and getting to 4-3 with like 5 minutes left. And I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is a rerun of game 1." And we held them. And the last thing I remember before blacking out over the celebration. was O'Brien, Zach, laying out in the final seconds the block shot from the point, and then we all crashed the ice throwing our gear in the air, and it's history from there.
You don't remember the goal that you would have scored? Because it was a little bit controversial because Ellenuk was kind of cutting through the crease and you were crashing the net. You have no recollection?
I remember, once again, I remember scoring it, and I remember thinking it was a garbage goal. It wasn't like a snipe. It wasn't a...
Oh, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, it was just a scrum goal, but I don't remember. I really don't. I don't remember how it happened. I remember every other game but game 6, which is the one that means the most, right? So it's weird. I don't know how that works. There
was the parade and all that fan support and all the parties and all the fun the next couple of days. They've got to be some of the best days of your life looking back on them.
My gosh, I remember going to the locker room after we won it and going to grab my phone. I FaceTimed my parents on the ice. And so
That's
I was
awesome.
talking to them and just, I don't know. It was a lot of emotions going through my head. Like, this is, the best time of my life. I've never won anything so prestigious like this. And,
right.
And, it's also sad that it's over. So now,
I know.
the future is, it's unknown right now. And so it was, a lot of things were going on at that time, but those next week or week and a half of celebrating with my teammates in the Kelly Cup on George Street was some of the best times of my life. And those will never, ever go away. Best times I'll never forget.
I mean, I got to ask you in general, and already a bunch of similar questions like this coming from the fans here. I mean, coming back to Newfoundland, now that you get a chance to reflect back on, your one and done, leaving Newfoundland on top, what are you going to remember most about your time with the Growlers and your time in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador?
If we're being honest, there's nothing I won't remember. I mean, and I know it sounds so repetitive because everyone that plays there, like the new guys that played there this year, there's not a thing that you won't forget about St. John's, Newfoundland. I mean, the everywhere that we played in the preseason, in the whole province of Newfoundland, in St. John's itself, the most friendly people you'll ever meet. The fans there are unbelievable. You get treated like royalty. The brotherhood that we created when we we won, and everyone's so close. And I think that was a huge key in our success of winning it. Is everyone was very close, and everyone was pushing for success with everyone. And I mean, just the George Street itself, the parade at the end. I mean, just there isn't enough nice things to say about St. John's, and it'll go down in the history books as one of the best experiences of my life.
So basically every game that we attend, Buddy pays a special visit to Kennedy every time. And it's funny because she wears glasses and she'll tell me, she says, "Daddy, I got my Buddy's goggles on." So she's there looking around the stadium with her Buddy goggles trying to find Buddy. And Buddy is silly and goofy, and Kennedy's kind of the same. So she fell right in love with him, and their paths crossed, and then they got to know each other on a personal level, and their relationship has blossomed ever since. He got her to ride the Zamboni, and between first and second intermission, I believe, and she loves the Zamboni. She loves anything to do with hockey, and so it was great. He set it all up, got family tickets, arranged for Kennedy. I mean, I think the age limit's like 12 or 13, and Kennedy was probably 15 or 16 at the time, but it didn't matter. He was going to make it happen, and he made it happen for her. And it was a very special night for all of us just to watch her, and it's amazing what he's done for her and our family. I mean, anytime you're dealing with a special needs kid, and someone can make your day a little bit brighter, and Buddy's after doing that over and over again.
here. There have been some hot takes on the best sushi on the island here. What's your pick? I know you guys are sushi geeks. Where's your favorite feed of sushi in St. John's?
I think the biggest place or the most common place that we went to was Sushi Island. That was the biggest one that the boys usually went to when we all got together to go for lunch or something like that. So, yeah, but when we're on the road, usually me and Trey like to find the nearest sushi place to go for supper or something like that. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Let's get to that. So I think you were actually, you might remember, I think we were in Worcester and we got Scurvs to do the kind of post-practice interviews. We were out of ideas. Scurvs was gung-ho about it. And then I think you were the one who let it drop that I think you called him Dad. And we had never talked about it before, the whole family thing that yourself and Trey and Scurvs. So before we get really into that, I want to ask, what was your first impression of Todd Skirving? When did you first meet Scurvs? Because he's a unique cat. He's the kind of guy you know his presence right away. What was your first impression of the legend Todd Skirving?
I actually thought he was a really funny guy. No, he's really energetic. He was at Marley's camp. I didn't really talk to him that much, but once I got on the rock, you start to get to know him a little bit better, and he loves Newfoundland. So
yes, he does.
He has all the ins and outs of St. John's, and you really get to know him because he's always talking. So
that's a fact. How did the whole family thing come about? Like, I'm real tight with my buddies. We don't call each other family. How did that turn into a family for you guys?
I think Todd Skirving came up with it. So me, Bradley, and Trey usually hang out a lot in St. John's. So it was a big thing that we were kind of his kids, and he was the older guy, so he was our dad. So I think we made a pretty good thing out of it, and it's pretty funny to talk about.
Do you guys keep up now in the off season? Is the group chat still going, I guess?
Oh yeah, the group chat's going. We have one with me, Todd, Brazzy, and Trey. So it's pretty good. We like to talk every day, and no, still keep in touch. So
talk about those line mates a bit that you played with, because I know this was a really tight team. I know you guys got along super well. I'm talking about yourself, Trey Bradley, Justin Brazo. We'll get to Todd Skirving in a little bit. But just, I mean, that's kind of a rare thing, Woodsy, to come into your first year on a brand new team, isolated on this island in the middle of the darn ocean, but at the same time coming together as quickly and as well as you guys did. Kind of, where did that come from in your mind?
I guess it was kind of at the beginning of the year and back in Toronto. We were in Toronto a month before even the season started, and you know, you really get to know guys. So actually, me and Trey roomed together for probably 3 weeks before the season actually started.
That's
up
right.
In Toronto, and then Brazzy was with Colt Conrad, so we kind of got to mesh a little bit up there. And then once we ended up on the same team, you know, things just kept clicking. And then Todd Skirving came into the picture, and we created a big happy family. So.
And actually, I want to go back to your first AHL goal. You were, if I remember correctly, by a couple of Growlers and your junior teammate in Hudson Ellenuk, Christians Rubens and Ellenuk, I believe, were the guys who assisted on it. Kind of, what do you remember? What was it like playing with guys that clearly had won it here with us the year before, but that you still got to know as Marlies and a guy like Rubes this year?
Yeah, it was great. I got to know Ruby really well when I was up there too. And like I said before, I played with Hudson Ellenuk back in Spokane, so I knew him when I got there. But no, it was amazing. It was crazy. I got a pass from Rubens out of the left corner and kind of faked a shot and went post in, and I won't ever forget that goal for sure.
Have you been working out this whole time? What do you do to keep active? When do you do you have a home gym? Or is that kind of far from your mind at this stage of the game in terms of trying to prep for next season? Kind of what have you been up to keep busy and fit, I guess?
Yeah, the Marlies have been sending me kind of mandatory workouts for at home. They have it's called a Bridge Athletics app, and we get a whole bunch of workouts each week. So Monday through Friday, we have a workout to do at home that we can do either right in front of our street or even downstairs in our basement. I got a few weights and stuff that I use for down there for exercise and stuff like that, and anything to really do, maybe go for a run here and there, but it's mostly all at home. You do it with do with what you got and go from there.
I'm curious what you remember. We're going to go, I guess this will end up being one of your last games of the season as a Growler, that 5-point night in Adirondack. A 7-4 game, again, a really weird one, but you had 5 points. That ended up being a franchise record, tied with Conrad, and Braz, I believe, had a 5-point night himself. But what do you remember about that night? 7-4, we allowed 3 shorthanded goals against a real weird night, but you couldn't miss that night.
Yeah, it was crazy. No, it felt like the puck just came on my stick and kept going in, or it kept making a play. So it was pretty crazy. No, I think Brazo and the Bradley line that I was playing with that night were really clicking. So no, it was a memorable night, and I think I'll never forget it.
Aiden Foley asks, best and worst arenas or cities in the North Division? Do you have any? We got to travel a lot around to Worcester, Adirondack, Reading, Portland, Maine. Kind of what sticks out as maybe your favorite and least favorite in the division of the places we went a handful of times?
I think my least favorite to play in was Brampton. No, the fans weren't really great. You probably had about 300 to 400 people there maybe a game, so it wasn't the greatest place to play. No offense to Brampton, for sure, but
no disrespect.
Yeah, I think the best place I like to play was in Maine. I think it was a pretty electric facility down there, and we seemed to always have pretty good games while we were down there. So I think that was my favorite place to play in the North. So,
guys are asking about your golf game. Do you consider yourself a good golfer?
I'm not the best golfer by any means. I like to get out there with the guys every now and then, and my buddies back home here. So I actually don't have a driver right now, but because I threw that in the creek last year at the end of the golfing season because I wasn't having a very good games, and I got to buy one before I can go golfing. So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Growler's owner, Dean McDonald, is here on the chat with us, and he asks the question, did you think the Growlers might repeat? So what did you think of the Growlers' chances, I guess, heading into, the home stretch here before the rug got ripped out from underneath us?
No, we had a great team. I fully believe that we were going to do it again this year. No, there was a team, there was a family in their dressing room each and every night. We had great defensive core, and I had a really good feeling that we were going to win this year, and it sucks to see it go out this way. So,
did you ever end up getting a feed of Jig's dinner? Asks 12 Growler. Because I think on the podcast you had not yet had the chance to experience a traditional Jig's dinner. I don't even know if you remember the look on your face. I look like a deer caught in the headlights here. I'm going to take that as a no. You have not had Jig's dinner.
No, I haven't. I've only been screeched in, but I haven't had Jig's dinner for sure.
All right. Well, maybe if and when we ever see you back here, we'll have to cook up a feed of Jig. You were on an absolute heater before you got called up to the Marlies. In your last 6 games in a Growlers uniform, 6 goals, 6 assists. What do you remember about that stint in particular? If that ends up being your last games as a Growler, you certainly went out on fuego, my friend.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know what was happening there. I guess I was just playing some of the best hockey. I was playing with great teammates, like I said before, Justin and Trey. So it was great to end off, and I think that's what helped me get up to Toronto when I did. So,
a Woodsy fan in the house asking, what was your favorite about Toronto and playing with the? You ended up with 8 games in. You had your first AHL goal in Binghamton there. Kind of sum up your time in Toronto with the Marlies.
It was great. I learned a lot. There was a lot more one-on-one development down there. So I learned a lot with tight corners and moving your feet down low and stuff like that. And I won't forget my first AHL goal. It was amazing. Just playing my first A game at Scotiabank Arena was pretty crazy too. So
that was where you scored your goal. Was that Scotiabank?
No, that was my first AHL game.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I played there for my first game. I'll always remember that, and I'll never forget my first goal up in Binghamton. So
Braz 1517 asks, who did you like playing with more, Trey or Braz?
They're just putting me on the spot right now is what they're doing.
This is what the fans want to know. We don't know who this person is.
Hey, just because I picked Brazzy for one of the better brothers, I'm gonna go with I like playing with Trey more than Brazzy right now. So he's a little bit more faster than Brazzy for sure.
I love it. Pit the fam against each other.
The last night of the St. John's Maple Leaf, when the game was over, Buddy took this off his back, signed it, and gave it to Christian. And Christian has had it up on his wall. This is the first time it's been taken off his wall since he got it that night. To Christian. A friend who taught me never to treat special people different and different people special. Your buddy forever.
That means the world to me.
Yeah, that means the world to you.
I'm so overjoyed.
You're overjoyed, yeah.
And it brings tears to my face.
With us, he worked with Christian to get over his fear. He was very patient with him and kind.
And now,
you know, and now like he always comes to him and talks to him. It's just been amazing. Like, he's
most people don't got it.
he's amazing friends with Christian, and just to get over his fear of mascots
Most
has helped
people
Christian a
don't
lot.
like the people.
Yeah, and then it went from Christian wanting to go to hockey games to wanting to go see Buddy.
But can I
It was more important to go see Buddy than to go to the hockey games.
I will ask you, now that you have had a chance maybe to look back on the season that was, what memories are you going to take away from this year, aside from, again, the COVID of it all?
It's hard not to finally talk and think about that 19-game win streak. I think that's something that no one really talked about, especially the coaching staff and us players. Like after a win, no one would bring it up until we talked to you after the game. You were the only one who would really bring it up.
And they made me ask you, man. I didn't want to ask you guys about it, but they were like, well, Ballard, this is going to put butts in seats. I'm like, I know. But I'm such a superstitious guy. I hated doing it. But that was the only time you guys talked about it. Nobody did.
Yeah, no one really did. And to look back on how special a run that really was, 19 games in a row at home, is to think about. It's pretty crazy. The fact that we were able to pull that off in our second year with a young group like we did and just be that consistent and that powerful every night was amazing to see.
What was it like to see a team that basically didn't exist until you signed? Because you were the first guy signed, if my memory serves me correctly. Was that a hard sell from like your agent? Hey man, I know this is your home province. They're gonna like have a team. How do you feel about being the first one to sign there? That seems like a weird thing. I know it's gonna be an easy decision to go home and play, or at least I assume it was. But kind of you were the first guy before the Growlers were even the Growlers. Kind of take us through that process.
Yeah, that definitely has been staying with me now for the last 2 years. A lot of people bring that up. It's definitely, I guess it's a pretty cool thing to have. And I was actually thinking about doing my master's at UPI. I had a one-year master's business program that I was going to do. And then when the Growlers came back and my agent got in contact with them and they offered me a contract, it was I couldn't really say no. You know, you can always really go back to school and stuff. So it was something I couldn't turn down, and being the first one is definitely pretty cool. You know, something I'll have with me for the rest of my life, and it's just a pretty cool thing to have.
Now, I've heard a rumor that you guys, if you like contact EA Sports, if you have a card in the game, you can get a like 99 version of yourself. Is that true? And have you done that?
Yeah, that is true. I haven't done that actually because I don't really play that. That's the style in the NHL game, but Hudson Elnick actually did it last year, and he came in the room one morning and was just going on and on about how he has a 99 overall NHL card of himself and how good he is and all this stuff. So that was a bit of fun, and I might do that down the road, but I haven't done it yet, no.
You, sir, tied the team record for most points in a game. You had, 2 goals and 3 assists in Jacksonville in that 9-1 stomping?
I think it was 1 goal, 4 assists, and Justin really I think there was 1 goal there. He just dangled through the defenseman and scored a beautiful goal, and I was just able to get an assist on that. And he had another 2 great shots, and I was fortunate just to play with him on that night. I think that was more his night than my night. That's kind of why I got the 5-point night, because he was putting the puck in the net. So that night in Jacksonville was one of those games that was really fun to play. So
we have to talk a little bit about the whole COVID-19 of it all. Obviously not the way anyone wanted the season to end, but kind of what was your reaction on that last day? I remember everyone sitting around in the hotel lobby in Brampton waiting, are we ever going to get on this bus to Kalamazoo? We ended up flying home basically later that day. Kind of sum up that last day of the season and what was maybe going through your mind.
Yeah, that was a whirlwind of a day for sure. I think we got a text in our group chat to not come down for the bus. A lot of us were getting ready to pack and stuff, and we just had no clue what was on the go. And I had one of my buddies actually who I went to school with was going to come over to Kalamazoo, so I was really excited to see him. Haven't seen him in a year or two, and didn't get to see him after. And that whole day, we ended up, as you said, flying out that night, and just no one was expecting it to go that way. And it was just, as I said, a whirlwind of a day, and just sad the season that ended like that.
No kidding. But like you said, you're home now, and everyone in your house is everyone safe and sound and healthy? Everyone's good? Yeah,
everyone's doing good. Family's been safe. Been fortunate to not have any health problems like that, and I'm really, really lucky and fortunate for sure.
Now, Marcus, I know you like to play a bit of golf as well. We've got Dean McDonald in the chat. Dean is saying, tell Marcus he owes me for the damage to my backyard with his hook shot. Marcus, what's Dino talking about here?
Oh, that was a rough one. Dean is a great guy. He really took us, 4 of us, out when we were down in Florida to the golf course where he stays, and took us out for a round of golf. And his house is located on one of the holes. So joking around, I get up and I say, hopefully I don't hit your house here, Dean. and I'm a decent golfer, so I didn't really think that was actually a possibility. Anyways, I get up, and what do you know, slice it right into his backyard. So, Dean being the guy he is,
did?
Oh yeah, right into his backyard. I think Zach was with me, Ferguson and Matt Bradley, and they had a good chuckle at it. But yeah, Dean had a good laugh. Nothing ended up getting broken or anyone getting hurt. But that was a great time in Florida, and he's a great owner.
Oh my! I had no idea that you would actually. I thought it was just like, haha, make sure you don't hit my house. I know his house was nearby, but I didn't think you would actually physically put a ball into his back
Yeah, sliced it right into his backyard. So never lived that one down.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, you picked a hell of a backyard there, my friend. What do you remember about the finals in general? Because when I was going through my mental Rolodex of Marcus Power finals moments, all I could think of, and this is not a knock on you, my friend, was that sick dangle to get in on goal against Pat Nagel, and he just absolutely robbed you. So what are your memories of everything kind of leading up to that moment in the finals, and are you still kicking yourself about that stop on that breakaway?
Yeah, when Rogers showed the game there last month, I think it was, everyone really kind of gave me the gears a little bit. And then my buddies did the same thing that were watching up that night in the booth. And they said it would have been one of the nicest goals they ever saw, but I got no finish and just razzed me a little bit. But a lot of the boys on the team gave me a hard time about that, and still got to laugh about it when they re-aired it. But it was a lucky move, and he's a great goalie, and he made a nice save. So that's all you can do. But it would have been one of the nicer goals I've scored if I was able to pull it off.
No, one more thing I'm gonna poke fun on. So I was doing a bit of homework before you came on here. So I always look up guys and I do a bit of a deep dive. So I got two pretty decent deep dives on you that you're gonna have to explain for us. So I typed in your name on YouTube. Not a ton of Marcus Power clips on YouTube, but there was a clip of you from, I think it was either like Bantam or Midget, giving an interview. Yeah. Great interview, but you're going to have to describe your haircut for us. That was, and I know I can't speak about hair. I haven't had it since the 90s. But Marcus, folks, for all of you, look up Marcus's name on YouTube. Sorry, Marcus.
Oh, come on. Don't tell him to do that.
Just to have a look, just for context's sake. But what talk about your hair back then, buddy. What was going on?
Now, that's not what I didn't have that hair. That's not my normal haircut. That was just for the tournament. But the whole team, that was back when you kind of do the same hairstyle, and the whole team would do it. And you go to high school and you'd look funny. And we went with red mohawks that year because no one really would do that. We had white, black, and red jerseys, I think it was. So we thought it'd be funny to do red mohawks, and we did it, and we won the Atlantic tournament. And then once we went to the nationals, they said you can't really look like that in the national tournament, so we had to shave the red mohawks off. But it was great.
Maybe for the Kelly Cup run next season, maybe it's Regiment Gold mohawks. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Get number 9 on both sides there too, or something like that.
I'm loving it. But hey, at least the red that matched the Bishop's colors, right?
Yeah, Bishop College Barons. It did.
That's right. Me and Marcus went to the same high school here in St. John's, a few years apart, but nonetheless, got to support our own Bishop's boys. Have you seen the construction? It looks like condos now.
Yeah, they're turned into an old age home, I think. One of my
good
friends is working in there. Yeah, so
wild.
Pretty sad, but that's it. All you can do.
Kind of finished the year on a different line. You were playing with Conrad and Braz, were you not?
Yeah, I was playing with Brazo and Conrad for the last month almost.
Dude. Not that you weren't playing well with Jack and Fergie, but I mean, there's no denying it. Both you and Braz seemingly got hot at the same time. What was it like kind of making that change and still being able to produce?
Yeah, I think we I shouldn't say we play the same way because he has like 6 inches on me, but we've kind of like to play down below the dots kind of to create our offensive chances and stuff. So we kind of saw eye to eye like that, and we kind of look for each other in a lot of slot areas and stuff like that around the net. And I think that really helped us. And then having a fast, speedy centerman like Conrad, who's one of the fastest skaters in the league, and to have him in the middle of us kind of just complemented that. And he's a great hockey player, has a lot of vision, and lot of skill to his game, and sky's the limit, I think, for both of them, and they're great hockey players. So it was a great matchup.
Remind us of that story for those at home who don't remember, because I remember something about that story. You'll be able to tell it better than I will, please, if you don't mind. I'm putting you on this. Yeah, no, the helmet stick.
Oh yeah, I think it was one morning. It was after 2 games or something, and it was like the Monday morning, and I go out on the ice, just having a few shots, and guys keep skating by me laughing. I'm just like, what are you laughing at? Like, what's going on? I finally get up to the little chat we have before practice starts, and Snowy looks at me, and I forget what it said on my helmet. It was something funny, and he just said that, and I'm like, oh no, it doesn't say that on my helmet. And then all the boys just bust out laughing. So having good fun like that throughout the year is great to do.
Talk about that run in general. I mean, Brampton, Manchester, Florida, and then Toledo. I mean, you being a hometown guy getting to win the Kelly Cup at home. I mean, come on, try and sum up what that means. I mean, that's right out of the story.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to sum up. It was just so much to take in at once. My first year pro hockey, my first year playing back at home. There was so many firsts, and then they ended off with the ultimate championship at the end, and to see guys like Adam Party and his career with the championship at home and stuff like that, it was just amazing. And finally bringing a championship back to Newfoundland after the Maple Leafs, the Ice Cats, so many teams, and to be part of that team and on that team and get to do the parade like we did down the street and stuff. It was definitely emotional and something I'll never ever forget.
No, absolutely. Was there any particular moment in the playoffs? Did you have that one cementing moment where it's like, holy crap, I actually think we're going to do this? Did you have that one realization?
I think we kind of had that all season long. We really had a lot of confidence, and Ryan Clough instilled that from the beginning, and John Snowden really kept that going, and with the leaders in the room, it was win or bust, and that's just the way it was with us last year. And, I think after we beat a team like Florida, who had so much success in the ECHL throughout so many years, a great team, and we almost swept them, but they got that one game, and we just played such good hockey against a dominant team like that. We really had a lot of confidence going into the finals against a great team like Toledo, and we were lucky enough to finish that off. So it was amazing for sure.
Tom J123 asks, how come we don't have Super Noof Growler merchandise? I know that's not your area of expertise, but I will ask you, obviously I've coined you and Zach the Super Noofs. What's your take on that? I mean, it makes it seem fun on the air, but what was your reaction? I think it was your mom told you. Do you hear Chris called you this or whatever? Like, what was your first take when you heard me call you and Zach the Super Noofs?
Yeah, my mom told me about it. She loved it. Thought it was amazing. Both my parents did. Thought it was a great call. And I think my mom and Zach's mom actually made Super Noof T-shirts that they wore to a few games, and they still have. So they loved it, and it's a pretty cool title to have. I guess you saying that on the air. It's I think it's definitely great.
Oh man, yeah. And Dean says, "Great, I'm on it." So hey, who knows? Maybe we'll have to cut you in on a merch deal for next season. Talk about your line. I mean, you played most of the year again with Fergie and Zach. We'll hone in on Zach first. I mean, I know that you guys have been playing together a long time, but let me ask you this: when did you guys first started playing hockey together? When did you guys meet and become friends and first kind of kick off? What's the Super Noof origin story here?
He kind of took me under his wing when he played midget hockey here at home in the St. John's Fog doubles team. When I came in when I was 15, he would have been 16. He kind of took me under his wing, and as a young kid like that, going to midget is a big transition, and he was able to show me like the ropes a little bit and the type of hockey it is, and having to do it with the travel and the chance to get scouted to play major junior and all that stuff. So around then, we kind of became good friends, and we still keep in touch throughout the whole year and play ball hockey together and all that stuff in the summer and play Xbox and everything together. So we've been really close friends for the last 10 years, ever since the midget days.
We got a couple of questions here in the chat from Tom J123. A question I was going to ask you: why did you pick UPEI after your junior career?
One of my coaches in Rwanda, Connor Cameron's his name, Dave Cameron's son. He was my coach there, and he kind of talked to me about going to school and that I would love a place like PEI because it's a lot like Newfoundland. It's small, great people, beautiful scenic place to live. with a great hockey program. So really just trusted his instincts. And I knew at UPEI I would get a lot of playing time and stuff as a freshman that you might not get at other schools throughout the AUS league. So those are the main factors. And I love my time at UPEI. It was great to spend some summers there. It's a beautiful place, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
A lot of people are asking a few questions about your junior days, and we'll get to Tom J123 here first. What's the main difference you found between playing university hockey and playing in the ECHL?
Probably the speed, the pace of pro hockey. You play with a lot of fast players that have really high, almost NHL, AHL speed that you really don't get at times in AUS. But the AUS is a great league. You only play 30 games, so almost every game is a playoff style type of atmosphere and type of game. So that's definitely probably the main thing, and just the caliber of hockey in the ECHL. It's really starting to get its credit now that it never really used to get, and I think the caliber aspect of things is definitely a big difference as well.
Got here, and I meant to ask you this forever ago. Did you find out who was stealing your socks?
Oh, the sock bandit. He showed up a little bit this year, like once or twice.
Nobody told me about it.
Yeah, I think it's because I kind of got to the bottom of it. I'm pretty sure, I'm about 95% sure it was Matt Bradley. He loves playing a bit of pranks on me. We're roommates on the road. I give it back to him every now and then with a couple of leaners and stuff like that, with water in the stalls, and play a couple tricks, put in funny names on tape on your helmet and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure it was him.
I always ask guys, who's the best and worst guy on the team at video games? And Marcus, buddy, your name is a little more often than maybe it should have. A lot of guys. I'll throw Braz under the bus because we're coming up with him a little later on. I asked him, I said, who's the last guy you'd want on your squad in Call of Duty? And he was like, without a doubt, Marcus Power. Why would he say that?
Yeah, that's definitely a shot at me. I like to think I'm a good room guy. I might not be the best shooter, have the best aim in a lot of those war games, but I think I'm a good room guy. And I think the worst for sure is Matt Bradley. He likes to talk a big game and he can't really back it up. But the best for sure would have to be Trey Bradley. He's good at almost everything he plays. I don't know what it is. He's just a wizard when it comes to video games.
Do you play much Chell at all?
Yeah, we play a lot of Chell. We play a lot of that online team play stuff. So I've been playing AHL since I've been 10 or so. So I've been playing that for a while. Still don't really get bored of it, and it's always good fun.
What difficulty do you play on? Because when I like to play, I don't like much of a challenge. I'll go on about semi-pro, and I'll score. I might be 5-6-1. That's a comfortable level of gaming for me. What level do you?
I usually play online, so I think that's on like All-Star or something. So usually try to play at a high level. I play enough that I should be decent at it by now, but I'm really not as good as I should be. But we play a lot of that online team play where you're really just one player and you just really get to chat with your buddies and play as a team and play against other people around the world. So it's a great setup, and it's definitely been able to keep me busy through all this.
The first question has to be, how have you been spending your COVID quarantine days here? What's it like in the Marcus Power household? You're home in St. John's, correct?
Yeah. Just trying to keep busy, watching a lot of Netflix, watched Tiger King and a couple of those other shows, and playing a bit of Xbox. And me and a couple of my buddies have like a weekly poker game we play. So been doing that, and also been trying to work out a couple days a week. So trying to keep busy.
3 2-goal games, and you had a handful of times where you scored 4 or 5 games in a row. When are we going to see the first Marcus Power Growler hat?
Who knows? My line mate's going to pass me the puck a bit more, I guess. Zach's shooting a little bit too much. So is Brady. No, that's a joke. But who knows? I'm fortunate to get 2 goals. It's the puck was going in for me, and as you said, I got in a little run there and I scored a few goals in a row. But getting a hat trick, that would be something special. I haven't had one since my midget days playing back here in Newfoundland. I don't think so. That would have been pretty special.
It's been that long?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I was just trying to dig you a little bit, but I didn't know it was this long of a monkey on the back. Well, you'll get one in the first few weeks of next season. No doubt about that. Well, let's talk. Kidding. And I know it's a little early in this process to ask, but there's a lot of people in the chat going to ask it anyway. But any plans or any inkling on what you'd like to do next season? I know a lot of our fans are going to want to keep you around, but we like to hope you're destined for bigger and better things to point us in the right direction of where you might be leaning, or are you holding your cards close to the chest poker style?
No, kind of a bit of both, I guess. I love playing at home. If there's anywhere to play in the ECHL, it's here every single time. That's not even up for debate. But as any hockey player, you want to play at the highest level. So it'd be wrong for me to say that I wouldn't want to play in the American Hockey League if I get that chance. But if it's playing in the ECHL, it's for the Newfoundland Growlers. There's no other team. We get treated absolutely amazing. The people like yourself that are always around, and the staff, and just everything about being a Growler is just top first class.
No kidding. Well, you had your fair share of them this year, that's for sure. 50 points again here this season, 24 goals, 26 assists. Real simply, kind of what went well for you this year?
Yeah, I think as me and you talked multiple times, I kind of had a slow start putting the puck in the net, and as a lot of guys did, I think. And then I kind of started to score a few games in a row, and then it just kept rolling and rolling. I was going to the net, and puck was coming to me, and having good line mates and a good power play was special for that. And the position I would play on the power play, and having guys like Zach and Brady Ferguson, Estefan that could pass me the puck down around the net, and I was just fortunate to get the opportunity to play in those situations. So I think that had a lot to do with it, and I'm definitely proud with the way things went this year.
Oh, absolutely. And how much does it still hurt, kind of knowing that this team was straight up good enough to contend to win it all again? How much does that sting you? Does it feel like something's maybe been taken away from you a little bit?
Yeah, I think it definitely hurts. As you said, we had a really good team this year again. We had all the pieces that you need to have in place to win. I think, as Coach Snowden said multiple times, we have a championship team in the room. Again, we really thought the same thing, and we were starting to play the way you need to play to win when the season was ending. And guys like Zach and as I said, Ferguson, and certain guys were really starting to come into their own, and we got some great goaltending down the stretch too. So all the areas you need to have a good, successful team we had. And the way things ended, it was just very, very sad, and no one really expected it, and it was heartbreaking for sure.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content.